Hey everyone, welcome to The New Populist. I'm Dave Brown. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Well, we got some new information from the Department of Homeland Security concerning security threats here in the United States. And this is really telling, it's ridiculous. And I don't want to belabor this point, and I know people are fans of Ted Cruz, and I like Ted Cruz, but I put out a video a little while back, and my criticism of Ted Cruz was that he used the word terrorism and terrorist in such a loose manner that it applied to a lot of people on the left and on the right. And my main concern with him doing that is when you label someone a terrorist, an American citizen, we have the Patriot Act, we have the FBI and all their tools in order to investigate people, spy on people. And I don't want those tools that were originally created to go after foreign terrorists who were trying to bomb buildings to be used against American citizens who were engaging in political protest where they, yes, got violent, where there was Black Lives Matter and a handful of people on January 6th. But my big concern was that we would have these tools being used against Americans. And with this latest statement from the DHS, you sort of see that not just as speculation, they are focusing solely on people within this country, American citizens, and domestic terrorists. So I want to read the statement from the Department of Homeland Security, and it's really quite shocking in my opinion. And it starts, summary of terrorism threat to the U.S. homeland. The United States remains in a heightened threat environment fueled by several factors, including an online environment filled with false or misleading narratives and conspiracy theories and other forms of dis, and malinformation, introduced and or amplified by foreign and domestic threat actors. These threat actors seek to exacerbate social friction, to sow discord and undermine public trust in government institutions to encourage unrest, which could potentially inspire acts of violence. Mass casualty attacks and other acts of targeted violence conducted by lone offenders and small groups acting in furtherance of ideological beliefs and or personal grievances pose an ongoing threat to the nation. While the conditions underlying the heightened threat landscape have not significantly changed over the last year, the convergence of the following factors has increased the volatility, unpredictability, and complexity of the threat environment. And one, the proliferation of false or misleading narratives which sow discord and undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions. Two, continued calls for violence directed at U.S. critical infrastructure, soft targets, and mass gatherings. Faith-based institutions such as churches, synagogues, mosques, institutions of higher education, racial and religious minorities, government facilities and personnel, including law enforcement and the military, the media, and perceived ideological opponents. And three, calls by foreign terrorist organizations for attacks on the United States based on recent events. So they start off, and it's conspiracies, misleading narratives, false narratives, dis, or malinformation. And of course, we can look back over the last 2 years and know what they're talking about. And this whole thing with Joe Rogan and having on Dr. McCullough and Dr. Malone really shows you what exactly they're targeting, who they're targeting. Because they go on to say, and they highlight as their first bullet point, COVID-19 information and issues with the elections. And it says the proliferation or false or misleading narratives which sow discord or undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions. For example, there is widespread online proliferation of false and misleading narratives regarding unsubstantiated widespread election fraud and COVID-19. Grievances associated with these themes inspired violent extremist attacks during 2021. And so I'm guessing the violent extremist attacks is the January 6th And of course, they're mentioning the COVID-19. And if they're really casting such a wide net, COVID-19 misinformation, well, first of all, as we all know, the biggest conveyors of misinformation about COVID-19 is Dr. Fauci himself. He's on record over and over and over lying, sometimes admitting he's lying when he talked about masks early on, where he admitted, I lied about that because I wanted to protect the stock. And so he's an admitted liar, and he probably is engaged in more disinformation than anybody else. And then we can also pull up the fact that the lab leak hypothesis would get you banned from social media. And now they're admitting that the lab leak hypothesis isn't a conspiracy theory. It is possible. And in my opinion, and a lot of others, it's probable. There is no other real good explanation for where COVID-19 came from. And it's increasingly looking like this came from that lab in Wuhan. So they're focusing on who? People who question the election in 2020 and people who question the COVID-19 vaccinations, etc. So who exactly are they targeting? They are targeting Trump supporters for the most part, people on the right, conservatives and Republicans. And it's really telling. Of all the things to worry about in this world, they're worried about political ideology and American citizens, not foreign terrorists, not Al-Qaeda, not ISIS. They're worried about us. And we watch what's happening now in Canada with the truckers. They're paying attention to that, and they're worried that that could come here. So they're trying to get out in front of this by setting up the scenario where if this happens here, these truckers in the United States start to protest and lock things down and shut things down, they want to try to slip in this idea that, oh, this might be domestic terrorism. We may need to throw people into Guantanamo. Well, not that far, but you get my point. So they're trying to get ahead of it. They know it's coming. They know we're pissed off. We're seeing the COVID narrative fall apart, and they want to try to kneecap us before we get into a dead sprint. And this is what they're doing now with this release from the Department of Homeland Security. And of course, they also point out too that there are foreign actors who are participating in helping this information disseminate. Let me guess who that is. Russia, right? And what's so frustrating about blaming Russia for everything, and we're aware of this, compared to Russia, China is 10 times worse. How many Russians were caught in our universities spying, sending information back to Putin, versus how many Chinese agents have been caught in the United States at our universities and our classified facilities? It happens all the time. Most of the espionage in this country comes from China, yet for some reason, all of our focus is on Russia, and that shows you just how corrupt our government is. So the Department of Homeland Security, they're setting this up. They're completely compromised. At this point, it's sad to say this organization, DHS and the FBI, at the top levels are gone, and we can no longer trust them. And the only way we can get back to a place where there are legitimate institutions is if we take back the government and have all these people thrown out. And the problem is, it seems even when we have Republicans in power, these people seem to sort of just hang in these organizations. And a lot of them have an R next to their name, which is the problem. A lot of rhinos, a lot of people slipping in there, claiming to be on our side. And when they're in power, they turn around and they work for the establishment. So hopefully midterm 2022, we can clean out Congress and start this process of trying to get these institutions back under control and working for the American people and not working against the American people. That's it for now. Again, if you are new to this channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.